Welcome back, everyone, to This Week in Biochar, where we dive into the latest and greatest, well, you guessed it, biochar news, straight from the virtual pages of Biochar today, no less. And boy, oh boy, do we have some real gems for you this week.
It's been, well, a pretty remarkable week for biochar, wouldn't you say?
I'd say, we've got record-breaking yields, green steel, the kind that doesn't cost the earth, and hold on to your hats, folks. Biochar's even hit the big time, the telly. BBC viewers were glued to their screens, and guess what caught their eye?
You're not going to believe this, but it was biochar.
Biochar.
Biochar!
Never thought it.
Right.
So why don't we just jump right in? First up, we're jetting off to, well, not literally, to Indonesia, where biochar is, well, it's changing the game for corn farmers, those facing the ever-increasing challenges of climate change.
Right. This project, it was all over biochar today this week. Couldn't miss it, really. It's a collaboration, you see, between WasteX, that's WasteX, and Yayasan Binatani Sigitero. Oh, and Atta Carbon, too. Can't forget them. And the whole thing's backed by the P4G Partnerships Initiative. Quite the team.
Sounds like it.
And what's really, really impressive, well, aside from the tech itself, obviously, is the impact, They've managed to boost corn yields, get this, by an average of 69%.
69%. That's got to be some kind of record.
It's pretty remarkable.
So what's the magic ingredient here? What's making this biochar so darn effective?
Well, it all boils down to biochar's, well, its structure, really. It's incredibly porous, like,
Yeah.
a sponge. And that means it can hold on to, well, it can hold on to water and all those essential nutrients, too, like a sponge, you see. And then, get this, it releases them, but slowly, gradually over time, which is, well, it's a godsend, especially in those regions with those long, dry seasons, like where this project's taking place. Yeah.
So it's like a slow release fertilizer, but better.
Yeah, you could say that.
Smart.
And the best part is, well, it's not just, theory. We're seeing real, actual farmers reaping the benefits.
Right.
The article, the one on Biochar today, it highlights this one farmer, Sariono, I think his name was.
Soriano.
Yeah, that's it. And even though he used less biochar than they recommended, just to see what would happen, he still saw, get this, a 30% yield increase.
30%. That's amazing.
It is.
So this biochar, it's helping farmers adapt to this crazy climate we're dealing with, and it's putting more food on the table, right?
Absolutely. It's a real game changer, especially when you consider that, well, a huge chunk of Indonesia's farmers, I think it's something like 62%, they're what we call smallholders, smaller farms. And they're particularly vulnerable to climate change.
Makes sense. The smaller you are, the harder you fall.
Exactly. And that's why this project, it's so important, you see.
Right. And this couldn't have come at a better time, really, for Indonesia. Their national corn production's been, well, it's been taking a hit lately, declining year on year.
Yeah, it's a worrying trend.
It is. So biochar, it's offering, well, a real solution here, a solution for boosting, well, food security, right?
Exactly. It's a win-win, really.
A win-win.
Because, well, on top of all that, biochar is good for the environment, too. Remember, we talked about this before, but biochar production, it's carbon negative.
Right. It sucks up more carbon than it releases.
Exactly. So this project in Desa Katamungan, it managed to sequester, well, a couple of tons of CO2e, and there are other projects in the village too, aiming for a grand total of, well, 18 tons sequestered.
18 tons, that's not bad.
It's a good start.
And that's where WasteX comes in, right? They're the certified C-Sync manager.
Yeah, so they can issue carbon credits, you see, from these biochar projects.
Right. So it's like a financial incentive, right, to encourage more people to get on board with biochar.
Exactly. It's about making biochar, well, commercially viable.
Sure.
And WasteX, they're not messing around either. They've already removed, hold on, let me check my notes. Yes, 25 tons of CO2e, and they've got these ambitious goals, you see, to sequester 50 tons per month by 2025.
Wow, that's a lot of carbon.
It is.
It's great to see this level of commitment,
I agree.
So from food security to carbon sequestration, it's clear that biochar's, well, it's making waves in Indonesia. Yeah. Now, why don't we shift gears a bit? Let's head over to India, where Tata Steel's been making headlines for their innovative use of biochar in steel production, no less.
Yeah, this is big news. The steel industry, well, it's a major contributor to global emissions, right?
Right.
So Tata Steel's commitment to to incorporating biochar into their processes. Well, it's a big deal. It shows that even these heavy industries, they can embrace sustainable practices.
And they're actually doing it right. They've been
Yeah.
using biochar at their Jamshedpur plant since early 2023,
That's right.
replacing, if I'm reading this right, roughly 30,000 tons of fossil fuel.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to be a significant chunk.
It is. It is.
So they're well on their way to their net zero target for 2045.
They are indeed. And what's really remarkable, well, is how they're using the biochar. They're actually using it in blast furnaces.
Blast furnaces.
Blast furnaces.
I didn't even know you could do that.
Well, you can, and Tata Steel's the first globally to do
Wow.
it. It's a testament to their willingness to push the boundaries.
They're not afraid to experiment,
Not at all.
and it's clearly paying off.
It is.
And
Nice.
Rajiv Mangal, he's the VP of Sustainability at Tata Steel, right?
Right.
He was quoted as saying that this initiative, it's setting a benchmark, not just for Tata Steel, but for the whole Indian steel industry.
It's a real inspiration.
It is.
And it's not just about biochar either, you see. Tata Steel, they're taking this multi-pronged approach, to sustainability.
Right.
They've got initiatives, well, everything from solar energy to biofuel in their shipping operations.
They're really going all out.
They are. They are.
And they've been recognized for it too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
They've been named a Steel Sustainability Champion
Mhm.
for 7 years running.
7 years in a row.
And they've got the Responsible Steel certification for their plants too.
So it's clear, that Tata Steel is committed to leading the way in sustainable steel production.
Absolutely. And their use of biochar, well, it's a shining example of that commitment. Now, for our next story, we're heading south to South Africa, to be precise, where there's this groundbreaking partnership that's leveraging biochar for carbon removal. This one was, well, it was all over biochar today. This week.
Oh yeah, this one was a real hit with the readers.
It couldn't get enough.
It's a fascinating collaboration, really. Brings together Renu Earth, they're a leader in biochar-based carbon removal solutions, and Carbonfuture GmbH, they're the experts in digital monitoring, reporting and verification. DMRV, that's it.
Yes.
And they're working with a sawmill in KwaZulu-Natal, turning wood residues into, you guessed it, biochar.
But in generating, if I'm following this right, certified carbon removal credits.
They are indeed. So this project's got a lot going for it. Strong market entry. They're projecting break even within 20 months. They've got a scalable biochar production technology that's been field tested, and a really experienced team with, well, a proven track record in the voluntary carbon market.
It's a really impressive setup, and they've got plenty of feedstock, you see, from the sawmill. So that's a sustainable supply chain right there.
Right.
And they're even exploring, well, value-added opportunities like selling the biochar to fertilizer manufacturers.
So it's a win-win for everyone involved, really.
It is.
Good for the environment, good for the local communities.
Absolutely, supporting sustainable agriculture, soil health, creating economic opportunities.
It's a really holistic approach.
And they're not stopping there either. By 2027, they're aiming for a carbon removal capacity of 200,000 CORCS across, get this, 10 additional sawmill sites.
10 more.
10 more.
Wow, they're thinking big.
They are, and they're even exploring joint ventures with a global automotive group and a Brazilian bank.
Bank.
A bank
Okay.
to really scale up their impact, you see?
It's incredible
Yeah.
to see such a comprehensive and ambitious approach
I know, it's really inspiring.
to harnessing the power of biochar for carbon removal. I mean, who'd have thought?
It's a real testament to what's possible when you've got, innovative partnerships and strategic thinking.
Right. Now, speaking of breaking into the mainstream, our next story, well, this one's particularly exciting because it highlights how biochars, well, it's capturing the attention of a wider audience.
You're talking about Capchar.
Capchar, yeah.
The UK-based carbon removal startup that was featured on BBC Panorama.
Oh, yeah, the Can't Scientists Save the Planet episode.
That's the one.
I saw that one. It was really good.
It was, wasn't it? It's fantastic to see biochar getting this kind of exposure.
I know, it's about time.
It is.
So the episode, it showcased Capchar's on-farm biochar solution. which is, well, it's designed to decarbonize agriculture and regenerate soil health,
Yeah.
all in the UK.
Right, which is, well, it's crucial, really, when you consider that agriculture contributes to 12%
Mm-hmm.
of the UK's greenhouse gas emissions.
12%.
12%?
That's a sizable chunk.
It is. It is.
So what's so special about CapChar's approach?
Well, they've got this really innovative model, you see. It's scalable, low cost, and it's all farm-based, which is, well, it's addressing a real bottleneck. In the UK, you see, there's just not enough biochar production capacity.
So they're bringing the production to the source, basically.
Yeah, and that means, well, it empowers the farmers, to be a part of the climate solution.
That's great.
It is.
And the BBC episode, it highlighted their work in Cornwall.
Right, where they're achieving real tangible emissions reductions while also providing, economic benefits to the local farmers.
So it's a win-win.
A win-win, absolutely.
And the founders, Adam Samuel and Chintan Mahida, they have this really compelling vision for a distributed network of biochar plants across the UK.
It's a really ambitious goal.
It is.
But it's a vision that could really transform UK farming,
Right. It can make it more sustainable, create jobs,
Right.
and help with carbon sequestration.
Exactly.
And the best part is, well, it's not just a pipe dream. They've already pre-sold carbon credits,
They have, which is a real testament to the commercial viability of their model.
So it's not just, a nice idea. It's actually happening.
It is. And with the UK government's carbon tax on fertilizers coming up in 2027, well, CapChar's solution, it's incredibly timely.
Yeah, it's giving farmers a practical way to reduce their carbon footprint.
And to prepare for this policy change.
And to potentially even make some money from selling those carbon credits.
Exactly.
It's inspiring to see how biochar is, well, it's capturing the imagination of innovators and policymakers alike.
It is.
It's a real pathway towards a more sustainable future for agriculture.
And it's a reminder that biochar is not just, some niche technology. It's a solution with the potential to transform entire industries.
And to address some of the biggest challenges of our time.
Precise.
Now, let's shift gears one more time and delve into this fascinating research article that's exploring the potential of biochar to create, well, greener construction materials.
This one caught my eye too. It's a study published in Construction and Building Materials, and it's all about, well, optimizing biochar for use in low carbon cement.
Low carbon cement.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hot topic these days.
It is, especially when you consider that, concrete production it's a major source.
Yeah.
Of global CO2 emissions.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's talking about green construction these days, but this article, it really caught my eye because it goes beyond the hype. It actually dives into the nitty-gritty of how to make biochar work in cement.
It's not as simple as just throwing it in there and hoping for the best.
Right.
This research, it highlights how important it is to optimize the distribution, you see, of the biochar particles within the cement matrix.
So it's all about placement, basically.
Yeah, you could say that.
Interesting.
And they focused on bamboo-derived biochar for this one.
Bamboo. Interesting choice.
Well, it's readily available, sustainable.
Right.
And they experimented with this very specific type of particle arrangement called a Poisson distribution.
A Poisson distribution. Okay, I'll be honest. I'm not familiar with that one.
Well, it's a bit technical, but basically, imagine you're scattering seeds, randomly across a field.
Okay, I can picture that.
A Poisson distribution, it describes the probability of finding a certain number of seeds in a given area.
So in this case, the seeds are the biochar particles.
Exactly.
And the field is the cement.
You got it.
Okay. So they're strategically placing these particles to create the best possible outcome.
Precisely, by controlling the distribution, they can fine-tune the pore structure of the cement.
The pores.
Yeah, and that's essential, you see, for maximizing both carbon capture and water absorption.
Right, because the pores, they act like these little channels for the CO2 and the water to flow through.
Exactly. It's all about creating the optimal pathway. And the article, it's got this great visual, actually. It shows the whole process, from the bamboo all the way to the final product.
Biochar enhanced cement.
The biochar enhanced cement, that's it.
I love it when they include visuals like that.
Me too. It really helps to understand, how these tiny particles can have such a big impact.
It's all about the little things, right?
It is, it is.
So these researchers, they didn't just stop there.
Oh no, they went even further.
They did.
They used this multi-criteria evaluation.
Sounds complicated.
It is a bit, but essentially they wanted to find the sweet spot, for optimal performance.
So they were looking for the perfect recipe, basically.
Exactly, and they found it.
They did.
They did a water cement ratio of 0.40, a biochar content of 40%, and a specific lambda value of 3.0.
Lambda value.
It's a measure of the distribution of the particles.
Right. Poisson distribution.
Poisson distribution.
Got it.
And with those parameters, they achieved the best results.
So they maximized carbon capture and water absorption without compromising the strength of the cement.
That's exactly it.
Now that's impressive.
It is.
It really shows, I think, the power of thoughtful design, and optimization.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that, innovation in the biochar field, it goes beyond the material itself.
Right.
It's about how we use it.
How we apply it.
How we apply it. Exactly.
Intelligently. Well, from tiny particles to large-scale industrial applications, it's clear that biochar is a versatile player, wouldn't you say?
I would.
The sustainability game.
Absolutely.
But we're not done yet. Our next story, it takes us back to the world of agriculture, where biochar is making a splash in hydroponic strawberry production.
Hydroponic strawberries.
Hydroponic strawberries.
That sounds interesting.
It is.
So this research, it was published in the Journal of Environmental Management.
Sure.
And it tackles a common challenge you see in closed hydroponic systems.
Just
autotoxicity.
Autotoxicity. No, there's a word I haven't heard in a while.
It's basically where the buildup of root secretions can actually hinder plant growth.
So the plants are basically, poisoning themselves.
In a way, yes.
Wow, that's rough.
It can be.
So how does biochar help with this?
Well, the researchers, they wanted to see if adding biochar to the substrate, could help mitigate this autotoxicity.
Makes sense.
And hopefully improve strawberry yields in the process.
So they were basically trying to create a healthier environment for the strawberries to grow in.
Exactly. And they tested 3 different cultivars: Puros, Camarosa, and San Andreas.
All the big names?
The big names, that's it.
Both with and without biochar.
Exactly. A controlled experiment.
Classic. So what were the results? Were those juicy strawberries thriving in their biochar-enhanced homes?
Well, the results were very promising, actually.
They were?
They were. Biochar proved to be, a very effective solution for mitigating autotoxicity.
Good news.
Yeah.
For strawberry lovers everywhere.
Indeed, it led to enhanced growth and overall yield.
Enhanced growth, higher yield.
Yeah.
So everyone wins, right?
It seems so.
Now, I'm curious, were there any differences between the different cultivars?
Interestingly, yes, there was a significant interaction between the cultivar and the biochar.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all solution.
Not exactly, no.
Each strawberry variety needs its own special biochar blend.
You could say that, yes.
Makes sense.
For instance, Peros, when grown with biochar, it had the highest chlorophyll content.
So greener leaves.
Greener leaves,
Yeah.
exactly. And higher fruit number, weight, yield, even antioxidant capacity.
Wow. So it wasn't just about quantity, but quality too.
Fascinating. San Andreas, on the other hand, when grown with biochar, it had the best firmness, acidity, sweetness, pH, and vitamin C content.
So is the tastiest and the healthiest.
You could say that.
But without biochar.
Without biochar.
It had the highest zinc content.
Interesting.
So it's all about finding the the right match, right?
It is. Yeah.
The right biochar for the right strawberry
Precisely.
to get the best possible outcome.
This research, it really highlights the potential of biochar to not only boost yields, but to actually improve the nutritional quality of the strawberry.
In closed hydroponic systems.
The closed hydroponic systems, exactly.
It's a step towards a more sustainable
Yeah.
and delicious future for strawberry production.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Now, from boosting yields to cleaning up heavy industries, biochar, it seems like it has a knack
Yeah.
for tackling tough challenges.
It does, doesn't it?
It does. And speaking of tough challenges, our final story this week, it takes us to Korea, where researchers are turning a common waste product
Yeah.
into a valuable resource.
And it involves, wait for it, cashews.
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 Like the nut.
The nut, exactly.
Well, this should be interesting.
It is, it is.
Yeah.
So Dr. Choi Young-chan and the Clean Air Research Laboratory at the Korea Institute of Energy Research, they've developed this new technology that transforms, get this, cashew nut shells.
The shells.
The shells.
What do they usually do with those?
Well, they're usually just discarded, considered waste.
So they're taking something that's normally thrown away
Yeah.
and turning it into something useful.
Exactly. They're turning it into biofuel and biochar.
Wow. So it's a double whammy.
It is. It is.
Now this is particularly relevant in Korea, right?
It is, because biomass for biofuel production there, it's limited and expensive to collect.
Right.
But cashew nut shells, well, they're readily available overseas, and they're packed with these high calorie oil components.
So they're perfect for biofuel production.
They are. Traditionally, this has been done using mechanical pressing.
Okay.
But it's got its drawbacks, you see. Low yield, poor oil quality,
Yeah.
and it relies on harsh chemicals.
Not ideal.
Not ideal at all.
So Dr. Choi's team, they found a better way.
They did. They used a process called medium temperature pyrolysis.
Medium temperature pyrolysis. Now that's a mouthful.
It is. It is.
So how does that work?
Well, it basically heats up the cashew nut shells in the absence of oxygen.
So it's not burning them.
No burning.
Interesting.
And this process, it breaks down the shells into different components, including bio oil
and biochar.
and biochar. Exactly.
So what are the advantages of this method?
Well, for one, it's much faster. It cuts production time by 2/3.
Two-thirds. That's a huge time saving.
It is, and it more than doubles the yield.
So you get more bio oil?
More bio oil, exactly, and crucially, it eliminates the need for those harsh chemicals.
So it's better for the environment.
Better for the environment, absolutely.
And what about the quality of the bio oil?
Well, the results were very impressive. They achieved a 40% bio-heavy oil yield.
40%.
40%.
That's pretty high, isn't it?
It is. And the sulfur content was very low enough to meet international shipping emission standards.
So they could potentially use this bio oil as a cleaner alternative to traditional ship fuel.
Exactly, which is, well, that's a big deal.
It is. The shipping industry, it's notoriously difficult to decarbonize.
It is, which is why this research is so important.
And what about the biochar byproduct? What happens to that?
It doesn't go to waste.
It doesn't.
No, it can be used as a coal replacement in power plants or steel mills.
So it's reducing our reliance on fossil fuels.
Yes.
On multiple fronts.
On multiple fronts.
It's incredible how this research has turned this simple cashew nutshell
I know, right?
into this multifaceted solution for a cleaner future.
It's a perfect example of the circular economy, really.
It is.
Taking something that's normally considered waste and turning it into something valuable
and beneficial.
And beneficial, exactly.
Wow. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed in a good way, of course.
Yeah.
After that whirlwind tour of the biochar world,
Yeah.
from Indonesia to India to South Africa and even Korea, seems like biochar is popping up everywhere these days.
It really does, doesn't it? It's having a moment.
It is. It is, and deservedly so. I mean, we've seen some pretty impressive stuff today. Those record-breaking corn yields, the green steel, even those cashew nutshell biofuels. It's amazing.
It's not just the diversity of the applications, though, is it? It's the elegance of the solution.
Yes.
Yeah, the way biochar addresses these critical challenges across so many different sectors, while also promoting, circularity and resource efficiency.
Right, right. It's like biochar is this multi-tool that can solve a whole bunch of problems.
It is.
And one thing that really stood out to me looking at biochar today, this week, was this idea of closing the loop.
Closing the loop.
Yeah, taking waste materials, things that might otherwise be discarded or even burned, and transforming them into valuable products.
I see what you mean.
Products that benefit both people and the planet.
It's a perfect example of the circular economy in action, isn't it?
It is. It is, whether it's sawmill residues in South Africa or those cashew nut shells in Korea. We're finding these innovative ways to give these materials a second life, while also creating positive environmental and economic outcomes.
And let's not forget about the carbon sequestration aspect, right?
Yes, the carbon sink.
Biochar is a powerful tool for drawing down carbon from the atmosphere and locking it away in the soil.
For centuries.
For centuries, exactly.
So it's a win-win-win.
It is.
It's good for the economy, it's good for the environment, and it's good for the climate.
It's no wonder then that we're seeing so much interest in biochar from companies and organizations that are looking to achieve their net zero goals.
Right. It's not just a feel-good solution anymore. It's a tangible way to make a real difference.
A real difference.
So with all this momentum behind it, where do you see biochar going in the future? What are the most promising areas for growth?
Well, I think we'll definitely continue to see, advancements in the areas we've talked about today, obviously, agriculture, construction, biofuels. But I'm particularly excited about the potential of biochar in some of these emerging fields,
Right.
like water filtration.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that.
Soil remediation, and even in some high-tech applications like batteries. Batteries.
That's fascinating.
It is. The research is still in its early stages, of course.
Of course.
But the possibilities they're vast.
It feels like we're just scratching the surface, really.
We are, and that's what makes it so exciting.
It does. There's this real sense of discovery and innovation.
And the potential for positive impact, it's enormous.
It really is. Well, after this deep dive into the week's top biochar news, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling incredibly optimistic about the future.
Me too.
It's a reminder that even seemingly simple solutions like biochar can have a profound impact when we combine, ingenuity, science, and a commitment to sustainability.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up another episode of This Week in Biochar. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. And be sure to check back next week for more fascinating insights from the world of biochar.